Welcome back to PCM Yeti, episode 112. We're continuing on with the Tour de France and our hunt for a potential podium after that surprise flip of the script that brought us from completely out of contention after a stage one crash, and then that saw us 9.5 minutes behind, to now finding ourselves in second place, just a few minutes down. We've won 5 stages. Vatsek, the aforementioned contender, has won 4 of those 5 stages that we've claimed. This is stage 16. Today's objective is not necessarily the stage. If the Breakaway takes the stage, the Breakaway group, that's fine. We are trying to protect our GC position, and the big concern about the Breakaway is them gaining too much time. And so, to be sure, I checked the 11 riders, and none of them are closer than about 29 minutes and 50 seconds down, so half an hour. We have half an hour gap, and with just a little over 4-minute advantage, it does not feel like they are going to be much of a threat today. What is a threat is these 3 climbs to come. 2 little hills at the end cater towards our style of being able to go for a little punchy stage and maybe claim victory if the Breakaway is not around by that point, but the main concern is just staying on par. Vatsek gets another -2 draw today. Dad gets a -1 draw today, at least 1 point better than what we had on stage 15. But the Breakaway has already broken off a few of the weaker riders, giving them less strength, less power, and they're only 4 minutes ahead, and we're not even pushing hard here. So as we are maybe halfway up the actual climb, not the 11 kilometers that's listed, but about the 15 to 16 overall, we've got now just shy of 7 remaining. Let's make sure nobody's dropped too far, because we're only rolling a 76, trying to conserve, and we're doing just fine. Another kind of a poor day on the draw across board, not just Vatsek and Haddad, but others as well. Not one rider with their +5, which we've got like 3 +5, 6 expected. We've got a couple +4s expected. All but 2 guys are on fitness peaks. Like, we should be having a much better draw than this. But for the moment, at least, you'd feel pretty confident that we should have all of our climbers intact at the base of the next climb. But as a Cat 1 that's steeper and seemingly longer, it's going to be a much tougher second climb. Faray Prost is the one who is just shy of half an hour behind as he attacks for the KOM. Vatsek still leads there. Faray Prost is now second, just 10 points behind. Never mind the KOM. We've got a podium on our hands to protect. Only 3 riders dropped, and we should get a decent amount of recovery here. Harasim, Shaw, Zayats all feeling it, but they'll get a decent amount of recovery. Let's push forward to the next climb. All right, coming up on the base of that next climb, a couple things. One, let's up the effort to, I'd say, a 79 at first. We'll probably have to speed up a little bit more. It just really depends on the tempo, but we've got 83 kilometers left. Still 11 riders in the break. Those 3 who got dropped regained contact, and their gap, though, is down to inside 3 minutes. So there's actually still a pretty good chance that the peloton could claim victory on the stage here today. But this is the big key to the stage right now, this climb. So we're going to make sure we're not drifting much for now. Tempo's not bad. 12K to go to the top. 6.6% is the average for the 13-kilometer climb overall. And so far, not looking bad. But there was not a full recovery. There was definitely a very gradual, somewhat downhill in between the 2 climbs. The descent itself, a lot of the riders were well short of being fully recovered. So there's a pretty good chance that some of the riders in this peloton are going to be really feeling it. But we're at 7.5K. Harasim, go ahead and gel. Let's make sure nobody else is too far down. Montez is dropping a little bit more than I'd like, so we'll up him to an 81. Zayats will also gel. Like I said, this is kind of the pivotal climb. I'm less worried about the last climb than I am about trying to keep guys intact over this climb. And again, peloton's already shrinking, 129 now, The gap to the front, 11. They put their foot down pretty early in the climb, but we're already starting to come back at them a little bit. It's holding steady for the moment at 312. Arasim, he's going to get dropped. He'll be among those out the back. We're just inside 5K. And let's go ahead and put him on auto. This is already the back end, but there's UAE riders getting dropped. EF riders just barely hanging on. Mickles. Shreddle? Wow. Well, he was doing some of the work early on, but that's a waste for them to have him. Oh, there's Shaw. Shaw just got dropped. And Zayats is about to get dropped. And we're down to about 100 in the group now. Montez is hanging on. Abdullah, Haddad, Vatsek. I'm going to let these guys climb solo as we're 2.5K from the top. And I want to make sure that all four make it. Speaking of Panamar, go ahead and climb solo for right now so that you can make it and recover. It's a close one, 1.5K for him to the top. Montez is doing fine and recovering. Go ahead and protect Panamar. Just a little reversal. It's 1K. Help him get over the top. Help him still be here so that he can help us. There's a good amount of recovery to come on the descent, and that's part of the reason for doing this. And yes, he will make it over the top. So Panamar is going to try to recover position, but Montez has got to get back forward again. But Montez is in a good position to get water for us. I'll let him take care of it. Panamar's too tired for it. Abdullah would be the guy, but he's up near the front, so we might as well let Montez do it and then just help him get back. But 79 left, and we've got 5 guys. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. 53K left at the base, and Panamar has not fully recovered, nor has Montez. Panamar is now assigned to protecting Vatsek, and Montez is still coming forward with the water after all this time, but now that we are down in the valley on the flat, he is able to complete that task quickly and easily enough, but he's trying to drop back because, you know, we changed his position when we changed his role, so there we go. Now hold, Abdullah is going to protect Haddad. Montez will be the third piece in all of that. Montez is down a little bit today, but, you know, he sits 20th overall, so we'll still try to ride for him. And at this point, with 5 guys left, it's looking pretty dang good that we're going to hang on just fine to our second place today. And then that'll give us a chance to go for the stage, potentially, though it's a 5-minute gap. There's at least three riders off front. Vanderpool, Buitrago, Gruel have all been dropped from now a group of 8, including Hagland. Plenty of talent. They're not going to be an easy catch, and they're already most of the way up the climb. And speaking of, let's up the effort to hold position a little bit more for these guys, so we don't have to go crazy with this. They can afford to drift a little bit. Fiery Prost has gone into the KOM lead. Vatsek no longer holds it. And the gap's only just barely coming down. Okay, up to an 85, Montez. Climbing legs aren't great today, but he hangs on to the group. The drift was not a problem. Though Montez is probably the guy who lost that half bike length there for a second, but they'll be back up there, and they are. I think we're okay on the water part, especially with a quick descent and a gradual descent now from here towards the finish, but Montez, 99. 99, stay in contact. He was drifting, down to 66 riders. Puncture for a rider. Montez again losing contact briefly. Again losing contact.
There are just 15 kilometers left.
I don't think they're going to come back in contact this time. We're down to 53 riders and 4 here at the front with 16K left. The breakaway does have the stage wrapped up, though. The final 7 guys are hanging on just fine, and these guys have sat up just a bit, and I'm not too worried about it. Yes, it's Montez losing a little time, but we already kind of knew that it was never a big deal. His long-standing second place was not going to hold. And it's already down to 20th.
Only 10 kilometers
It'd be nice to have Montez right now for the run in towards the finish. Maybe we can do something.
And there's an attack at the front. He could go all the way.
11K. Just before that little hill would be where you want to give a big acceleration and then just kind of push on. So we're almost there, almost there, almost there, almost there. We're seeing a little acceleration by Ineos. Let's go. Panamar. 99, Abdullah to follow, then Haddad. Haddad's not a good lead out for Vatsek. But he's in the position he's in, so Abdullah gel. And that's it for the lead out onto Abdullah. Here's where we could see a split in the field. Nice big push from Abdullah. I'm okay. This is where you want to split things. If anybody's going to split off, this would be where it happens. So we do split off 8 riders, including Panamar. Montes also. Okay, Martinez tried to attack, but we've got it countered. 5K to go. Abdullah is nearly done. Let's gel up for Haddad. And then Vatsek. And that's it for Abdullah onto Haddad. And down to 37. So, yes, we are doing damage here. 3K. 2.7. Breakaway's got the stage. This is now just really about doing damage and splitting the field. Here comes the end of the stage. We're going to go a little softer for Vatsek, but we've got to come forward. Prost has won the stage. Final kilometer. It's uphill, it's uphill, it's uphill. Now Vatsek needs to attack and close that gap and try to come through. And hey, he can out-sprint these guys, but not for any important thing. It's for 8th place. He does get there first. So that would, if not for the breakaway, that would have been another stage victory. However, Vatsek gets a very solid 8th place ahead of Bergenau. Pigacher's 10th, so no time lost for him. Of course, Sobrero, Bagioli, Vinter, so he's going to continue to hang on to that under 25s with Mataway, Malassi, Evenepoel, Sivakov, Pidcock, Lenny Martinez, who just won a nice stage at Paris-Nice IRL, and Plapp, and Haddad was 34th at the finish. So the breakaway claims victory by just over 2 minutes. But with a half-hour advantage, none of those guys are going to be threatening in GC following that one. Haglund was 3rd, by the way, but 2:18. Then we see a small gap, 2:26 to others. So actually, we are going to gain just a little bit of time, and then 2:46 to a few more guys before you get into the trailing group. Not big time losses, though, but we've definitely find ourselves on the front end of everything as we, essentially won the stage without winning the stage. But the only change in the top 20 was Montez. Montez, the only one going backwards. Everybody else in the top 19 hold position. 10-second time losses, about all you could count on with any of them. And with the KOM gone, Farah Prost, he had a good day. He won the stage and claimed most of the KOM points, and now has a +5 advantage. He'll wear the polka dots. That's okay. That's not what we're here for. Same with the under 25s. As much as it would be nice to get ahead of Inter, as much as it would be nice to win the KOM, and as much as the team classification, all of those would be nice. But we're here for stages, and we're here for the GC for Vatsek. Early portion of stage 17, and here's what's at stake for the day. We have 2 mountaintop finishes here on back-to-back days, and they are the final 2 climbing stages of this tour. Then we have a sprint stage, an individual time trial, and then the Champs-Élysées sprint stage. So outside of a time trial, which we already know from one, Vatsek won the earlier time trial through the quick sim, but even if his fitness peak is gone by the end, he should still put up a respectable time and should not lose significant time. He might lose some time if he's got a poor race day condition, but he shouldn't lose any significant time, meaning he's got 4 minutes to spare to the riders behind him, and he's got quite a few riders behind him. So the reality is on a day like this, if we can lose a minute or less, we're having a brilliant day. That's going to be the aim, that's the target, and Vatsek has a +5. Haddad is down to, due to recovery and other factors, he's down to an expected +3, which he does have today. So they are where they're supposed to be. Let's go ahead and send Shaw to get water. They are where they're supposed to be. Montez also has a +5, so we have one good support climber. But that's it. Nobody else has the race day condition today. It's going to be a little bit harder to protect we have 3 climbs back to back to back. It's not going to be easy. The breakaway also more dangerous today, as there are a couple of riders that are only 16 minutes down and in the teens in terms of the overall standings. Burhi being the closest at just over 16 minutes down. And we, of course, are 3 minutes down, so he's only 13 minutes behind us. He's only 9 minutes behind other riders in the standings. So keeping an eye on that breakaway is going to be a little bit important. Right now it's a 5-minute advantage. It's only 12 riders, so they shouldn't have a ton of firepower here, giving us a little bit better shot. We're going to try to get water again before the first climb, but they're going to come pretty thick and fast, and I expect even the first climb is going to be fairly challenging. And the descents are short enough that, yes, there's going to be recovery, but it's not going to be totality. It's only going to be a partial recovery as we go through the intermediate sprint for the day. And apparently there was still a few points left on offer, because a couple guys were pretty aggressive going for that. 75k left, and we're on a little rise. Let's go get water now. That's kind of pushing it on whether that's enough water to get you to the end. But over the second climb, the middle climb, if we got a small enough group, that might be an easy time to just grab water. Okay, well, here we go. So we're set to a 77. There's already a little bit of fatigue, and we're 15k from the top. It's the Parasword, 13.5 kilometers officially, and 6.8%. Starts a little bit gradual, and then it gets nasty. Well, it's more than just a little bit gradual, too, because we're at 14.5 right now. We're still a kilometer from the official beginning of the climb, and you can see we're about to turn right here at about 100 meters and already start to ramp up, then climb. So it really does kind of begin from here. Shah and Abdullah might not even make it through the first climb. We'll go a little slow for the moment to see if a 77 is holding for the first climb, because we do want to conserve as much energy on climb number 1 as we can for the climbs to come, especially with a big final climb where we could be pretty isolated with Vatsek and maybe just Haddad and or Montez by that point left to support. So for now, everybody's holding position just fine. The 77's doing okay. We're going to get into the steeper bits here shortly, though. We topped 5% on the gradient there briefly, but it's just barely over 3, even sometimes under 3. And now we're starting to ramp up more and more, and I think this is where it really kicks off.
A couple of teams have set themselves up as pacemakers for the
Yeah, 6.5 now.
Don't have anybody in the breakaway
And the average for the whole thing is 6.8. So I think this is about the least steep we're going to see the rest of the way, besides one little 50-meter stretch where it flattens out a little bit. 6%. We're doing fine. Shah is struggling, and Shah is tiring quick. So let's get his gel. Still 7.5k from this first one, and we're already down to 91 riders. And a 4-minute advantage for the break, by the way. Ponomar and Zayats are struggling to keep up. That's the 2 guys that are on "we'll use you later" duty. And neither one really stronger than the other. So instead of protecting one and keeping them around, I've got kind of both guys that might be struggling here a bit. Zayats right now is doing a little bit better than Ponomar. Let's go ahead and just support Zayats. Burn through Ponomar to help. And that's Haddad that's going to be weak here in a moment, so we'll get Ponomar to go protect. And that's it for Shah. He's going to drop out the back here pretty soon, so we'll go ahead and get Ponomar now on Haddad. And Zayats, I want you to follow Vatsek, because here goes Harasim. Harasim, oh, I did not use your gel. My bad. Abdullah, let's gel up. And Harasim, he's going out the back. He was protecting Montez. Montez, that's okay to leave him alone. It's the Abdullah one. When he begins to fade, we need to replace him with Zayats. And here it comes. And he's kind of out of the window now. So Zayats, gel. 1.5k from the top of this one. Ponomar is already beginning his fade too. Yikes. He might make the top, but it's 1K. I don't think he is. I think he's going to get dropped just before the top here. Because there's the back. There's the back. 400 meters shy. 400 meters shy. Didn't even get his gel. With the gel, he might have made it over the top. We're down to 4 guys. And yeah, look how fatigued everybody is. They got to recover. Recover. They are recovering. Down to 63. And the breakaway situation is Storer, Pivy, Hagland, and Martinez all dropped. Only 4 left at the front. Weakening them greatly, but they are 5 minutes ahead. The 16 minutes, not a threat at this stage, right? They need to be 9+ to be a threat to our GC position. Fatsec fully recovered. Nobody else is. And we've already reached the base. We've reached the valley, and yes, we are protecting Vatsec. Right now, Montez is actually looking better than Haddad. Much shorter climb this time. 7.5 kilometers, 8.3% though. So it's definitely steeper. It's more consistent than the other climb. Just a lot shorter. And here we go. Let's up the effort a little bit. We'll go 79 for Vatsec, and we'll get to an 80 for these guys to hold that position. Zayats, I don't think will make it, but I'm really hoping we'll have the other 3 for the base of the final climb.
The pack is increasing its work.
And it would be really nice if half this group is dropped and only 1 rider from our team is dropped. But Vatsec is getting blocked off right now, and he's lost a lot of ground. He had somebody going slow ahead of him, and he lost a ton of ground. It wasn't even blinking red. At 81, it wasn't blinking red. Now it's starting to. But the others are holding their position so much better than he is. As somebody slow knocked us backwards. We got 4K to go to the top of this climb. 85. Zayats is there to protect us. We'll let the other 2 just kind of stay and hold. They'll make it. 3K. Zayats will not. Vatsec will get there on his own. A little bit longer recovery this time. I will leave Haddad and Montez to their own survivability for the moment, so that they can recover a little bit better on the descent and be able to protect Vatsec, who's fine for now. We do need the water, though, here at the top. Down to 63. Zayat's out the back. Zayat's not out the back. Now he is. 5 riders dropped. Still a 5-minute gap to the front. Tempo was not bad there in the final kilometer. Haddad's definitely looking a little bit weaker than Montez is today, but the recovery is on, and let's go ahead and use Montez to get water. Zayats is over 3 minutes down, so he will not get back up here to help us for the final climb. Vatsec is clearly going to be fully recovered here in just a moment, and is. Now it's about how much recovery we can get out of Montez and Haddad, and how quickly Montez can get back up there with the water. We do not want him climbing. We're already going to start to level off a little bit. Final climb is the Col de Porte. 16K, 8.7%. So it's like the last climb, but much longer. There's the water task done, and Montez is less recovered, so we'll go ahead and use him to protect Vatsec as we begin the final climb. Here's where we don't want to lose time, so Vatsec, we're going to ease off a little bit if we can, and Haddad needs to just hold his wheel. This is all about Vatsec right now, so I need both riders nearby to him. Montez will gel early, so we don't waste it. We want to use it. 14K left on the stage, just 3 minutes to the front of the field. There's for Prost is not going to win this one. There's a lot of points available at the top, but I don't think we're going to be contending for the stage or those points. Bissau, there's Burhi furthest ahead up the road, 16:58 down. So it's actually 17 minutes, almost an even 17 minutes. He's 18th overall on the GC, but right now he is a few minutes up the road. Vatsec's position is fine. The 82 is steady. as they get little tiny accelerations or decelerations. Ultimately, he's holding that position, even though I've seen a little bit of blinking here. And of course, we can respond if something happens, but we've still got 11K to go. So for now, slow and steady as group thins to 43. Montez will not last a lot longer, and Haddad will not last much longer after that. In fact, let's go ahead and start burning Haddad's gel now. 10K to go, 10K to go. And now it's just Burhi off the front, and he's been brought back. He has been brought back. So the winner will come from the peloton, and they're the 37 riders there within. Montez is done. On to Haddad. Here is our little bit of respite, very brief at this stage of the climb. It's going to be very steady for a while after this. Dude, what happened? You were right there a second ago. I looked up here, and suddenly we are like 8 bike lengths down. Montez has gone out the back in that little stretch as Bissau, who was in that break. And there goes, what was that, Richitello? Getting dropped. Here's Berthet getting dropped. He's a 76-76. There's for Prost about to go out the back. But Haddad doing the protection. Vatsek will be on his own soon enough. I do not like climbing at this tempo. We'll back it off a little bit again as we've recovered whatever rapid drop we had there. Down to 27. Haddad fading. Vatsek on his own. Still 7K to go. We're going to back off. I'd rather see him drift right now and climb on his own. 19 riders left. But 6K, and clearly not the energy to last 6K. Love to see half these guys dropped in the next little bit, but there's 2 for now. We're not following Pogacar. We are not riding against him. This is survival. 5K. Down to 15. 14. Ease off, ease off, ease off. Pace is lifted. Love that the pace is lifted. Whoever's at the front here, Sivikov, has really, really tired out. So Gloag, Pogacar, Evenepoel, Van Wilder, Martinez, Poole, Malessi, Lindqvist, Uchabrooks, Shamanin, Vingegaard just hanging on to the back end, getting dropped. Vingegaard gets dropped. The 83 overall, 84 medium mountain, best rated climber in this field just got dropped. Pogacar's an 82, 84. Rodriguez also dropped with his 81, 80. Venter. Gregoire, who sits 3rd overall, 710. So the guy who had the most, the biggest chance to overcome us because he was the closest, has been dropped. Pidcock also dropped. He's 10th overall. 18th, Pellizzari. A lot of top 10 guys are out of this thing. So looking back through the 12 riders that remain, we've got a 13th overall, Uchabrooks. Lindqvist is out of it. We got 5th overall in Malessi, out of it. 4th in Poole, so that's 3 guys. Martinez, 4 guys. Van Wilder, 11th, we'll count him. Same with Evenepoel. And then Gloag. And then, of course, Pogacar, but I'm not counting him. It's the ones chasing us, and Sivikov's too far down to be a threat. We are, though, it looks like, on the verge of getting dropped, and we've got 3K to go. Let's let somebody else do that chasing here. 10 chasing 2, but Pogacar going clear is not a threat. Sivikov going clear is not a threat. Again, we are not racing for the overall. Pogacar is just too damn strong. And that's it. We're out of energy. We are out of energy. We are on our own, trying to minimize losses. It happened 1.5K from the finish. Now 1K from the finish. We are definitely going to take a couple minutes losses, but hopefully just at the front to Pogacar primarily. We'll see what happens when the others come. So there's Pogacar about to win. Poole That's a dangerous one. He's 4th overall and just 15 seconds down. Van Wilder was 11th. Martinez was 6th. They're gaining time. We're already at 45 seconds before these next two come across. There's Lindqvist. There's Ucha Brooks. We're already over a minute, minute and a half. Now 2 minutes. There's Globe. There's Vatsek. Vatsek gets to the line. 2:15 down. I was hoping for less than a minute, but that was Pogacar primarily, but then we were talking, what, 15, 20 seconds to Poole and Van Wilder? Those guys are going to gain about 2 minutes on me. That was dangerous. That part hurt. Then it quickly drops to about a minute to the other guys that we lost time to. And I don't know, what was the final count on that? 4 guys? 5 guys? That absolutely gained about anywhere from a half minute to a minute to 2 minutes on us. That all happened in the last 1.5K, where it blew up. And we just didn't have any support left, and we didn't have any energy left. Shaw, by the way, barely made the time cut for today. Vatsek, 11th on the stage, 2:12 down. It was good. It was competitive right up until the end, but that final blow up right at the end cost us so much time, but we conserved as long as we could. But, behind us, the gaps are big. It's smaller gaps ahead. We came in at the tail end of a very small group, 12 riders to be exact, with Sevakov, the only one behind us. So in the GC, it's still second, but it's dangerously much closer. Max Poole up to third, 2:20, 2:18 behind us. So Max Poole, that's a pretty dangerous position to be in. It's another minute, though. It's 3 minutes to Lenny Martinez in 4th. And Malesi just a handful of seconds behind that. Gregoire loses a ton of time. And there's a big and, if we get a decent race day condition tomorrow for the final mountain stage, we are absolutely looking at a scenario that from Gregoire down, those guys are too far behind. If we can get a +3, 4, or 5 on the day, yes, we could lose time, right? You saw how quickly time can be lost on a big mountain stage. That was 2 minutes, just in the blink of an eye. It was a little more than the blink of an eye, but you get the point. Pogacar was the main one who was going solo and opening that gap up, but there was still a minute to a minute and a half to these other guys, and that was that key part. Poole amongst them really put in a very strong performance on the day. So you could absolutely lose a big chunk of time in a hurry, and we have one more stage where that could happen, but we're not going to lose 6.5 minutes. I mean, even if he's got a poor draw on the day and only has something like a +2, we are not going to lose 6.5 minutes. We will ride defensively. We will protect him. We'll see ourselves out the back earlier with support, hopefully, and, eke our way towards the finish line. But you could still lose 3 to 4 minutes under those circumstances quite quickly, quite easily. So we could still find ourselves as low as 5th place. A podium is absolutely not assured. We do not have the climbing legs that these other guys have. We are not in that A tier. We cannot compete with them. They are 3, 4, 5 points stronger base, and then they're +4 for the difficulty. So we're 7 points behind these guys. Race day condition helps offset some of that, gets us a little bit closer, but it's only going to get us so close. If we can minimize losses, Max Poole looks the most dangerous to get ahead of us, but what about that time trialing? I mean, we already know Pogacar is great. He's an 80, but Poole, not a strong time trialist. We have a clear advantage over him, so as long as we don't have an awful race day condition on stage 20, we can beat him out if we're still level or ahead of him at the end of tomorrow. So we have 2 more minutes to spare on that. That's not much. Same with Lenny Martinez. Malesi is very dangerous, though. So Malesi is a huge threat to the podium. And then Poole or Martinez, because of how, look at these guys. They all have an 80 base. They all have stronger stamina base than Vatsek. They're +5 and +4. So they're a +9 on us. They have a huge advantage, all 3 of them. But the time trialing, only one of the 3 is there. That's given us a better shot, and we were looking at a scenario just a stage ago where it was 10 riders that were in that range. Suddenly, it's down to 5 riders that are in that less than 10 minutes down. But we've gone backwards by a couple minutes, closing us in towards that group. And we're not looking at guys within 10 minutes. The 3 guys we're looking at are just 2 to 3 minutes behind. We still have work to do. We still have work to do if we're going to get that podium. It is absolutely not assured. It could still be a 5th place if tomorrow goes poorly. That's going to do it for this stage and this episode. Points 5th, but too far behind. KOM now 13 points behind, so we're that little bit further down. We had a good finish there, but like I said, we're not that strong, not that competitive. And we were, 11th? So we got points. We got like 5 points, but we got no KOM points. It doesn't surprise me. We just aren't a strong enough climber, even with a good race day condition, and especially without support. We conserved as much energy as we could. We climbed as slowly and steadily as we could, made sure we didn't get dropped, but we just ran out a little bit before the end, right? 1.5K. We made 14.5K just fine. Just that last 1.5K. Now, had we dropped out and climbed a little bit slower, we might have been able to preserve a few seconds, but when the energy was gone, the energy was gone. It is what it is kind of at that point, and the whole group blew up. We were just kind of among the first 2 to slip out. But Haddad, yeah, he's 8 minutes behind Venter, so he's not going to win. And we're down to a 13-minute advantage, but we still have an advantage there as well. So we've got a decent chance to at least win the team classification, and we still have a decent chance at the podium. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.